Yeah. Okay. So hello guys, I'm Yogish. I think I have met all of you before, and today I'm going to share my recent experience of my visit to China. Uh, we can start, right?
Yeah, you can actually introduce yourself, Yogish, because a lot of people who.
Okay, so I'm a student of the Oriental Dialogue since 2016, and since I like joined the class and started learning Chinese, my life actually has changed drastically. And I wish to thank Aditi ma'am for like coming into my life, and I still remember her giving a call from the Balgandharva office that I'm like curious about learning Chinese language, and the language has taken me to many different heights that I can't explain. Yeah.
Which were the opportunities, like the scholarships you went to? Because people want to know where you've traveled in China
Okay.
and what you've done.
Sure. I'll go ahead with the. So today I'm mainly focusing on my recent visit, which was to the city of Dunhuang. It's an ancient Chinese city, which has been developed recently to promote tourism, and they have a lot of historical things that are very important in understanding the Silk Route and the trade that took place between China and other countries of the world. So, so these were the cities that we covered during our visit: Shanghai, Changzhou, Lanzhou, which is in Gansu province, Dunhuang, which is near the border of Qinghai, Xinjiang, and Gansu, and Beijing. The other places that I have visited at Changzhou, I was in Henan province. Pratik, you visited Changzhou recently, right? Changsha, Tianjin, Qingdao, Zhejiang. How many of you have been to China before? Oh, yes. Anyone else? Pratik, you went to Changzhou. Like, which places did you go?
Shanghai, Xinhu.
Okay, nice. So some of them are the first tier cities like Beijing and Shanghai, fully like one of the most developed cities of the world, and the others are second or third tier cities. And when you like to a layman eye, when you visit any city in China, you will not be able to make out the difference. But like politically, they have a lot of differences in that, and when you interact with people, you are able to understand what the differences are between the cities and the culture that they possess. So we'll start with Shanghai. Uh, we were there in Shanghai for just one night, and when we arrived at the airport, they directly took us to the Bund cruise, and we started like when we entered the cruise, it was a new experience for many of us because I only two people from our group were visiting China for the second time, but for others it was a first time experience, and they were very curious to meet the Chinese people and to interact with them. And for Chinese people also looking at us, we were dressed very oddly. We were not prepared for the cold weather that was going to be there, and I happening to like able to speak Chinese, I started interacting with many people, and they greeted us very well. Mostly, when they see you, they first ask you if you are from Pakistan, and, when they understand you are from India, they take a pause and then they interact with you accordingly. So, because on Chinese media, many a times there are things that are shown about India are not quite that yeah according to our ideology what they are shown. So the perspective, right. So the perspective in their mind is different. But when you start interacting with them, they are very friendly and they get to know you likewise. So this time I have been to Shanghai before. I was there for 3 months, and this time during visit I got to know about a new thing. There's this green building. Can you see the green tower here? Yeah, it's the Sassoon House, and I was like I thought I am like I'm the name I'm not hearing it right. Sassoon, I heard in Pune about Sassoon Hospital. All of you know it, right? So I thought the name must be a mistake in China, but I wasn't aware of the fact that Sassoon was a huge business. They had a huge business in China, and this is the Sassoon House that they own. So it goes back to the time when the British East India Company used to operate in India, and that time Victor Sassoon was the name of the guy uh, who took the business to new heights in China. They were mostly exporting opium from India that was cultivated in India, and when it was banned in China, they started it smuggling, and most of the income that they got from it, he invested in Pune and also in Shanghai. So in Shanghai, they started investing in huge real estate companies and in many infrastructure projects at that time. So yesterday I got to know that the Bund garden area is actually also related to Sassoon, and the Shanghai Bund. They have the name. The name comes from there. So also the Eves Estate. There's AFMC. AFMC का full form क्या है? Yeah. The college. So that property also was owned by Sassoon once, and yeah. So that's how we got to know that there are many historical links that I wasn't aware about that are there between Pune and Shanghai, and which is a very interesting fact to know about that the Bund Garden we are hearing since childhood, but we don't know that it's related to Shanghai. Okay, so this was the ferry ride, and this is the cute kids that I met on the ferry, and they were twins actually. But the second baby did not like. He was not willing to come with me. So, maybe because of the beard, because they are not used to long beards. Yeah. So there are different types of ferries. The one that you saw right now was a like a vintage boat. So the ticket for that is extra, and the one that we were taken to was a normal, a modern cruise, which had a like a roof, and on that rooftop we were like people can dine, they can order food, and they can enjoy the skyline at night. So after the cruise, they took us for dinner, and they only gave us like half an hour to 45 minutes to eat it because we had to check in into the rooms, and next morning we had to leave at 6 a.m. So these are some of the dishes that we ate. This was the most beautiful pork dish that I ate in Shanghai. It's called Hong Shao Rou. It's like braised pork, and the Shanghai one has a sweeter taste than compared to the other parts in China. This is the fish that they plate it with the heads. Even if you eat chicken, you can see the head of the chicken and the rest of the body. They plate it like that. And many of like there were three people in our group who were pure vegetarian. They did not even eat eggs. So for them it was a bit weird. They were making faces. They only could eat rice. And before we went from Pune, before we left India, I had messaged them to carry Maggi masala packets. So many of us are not able to, not used to the Chinese authentic food, they carry the masala packets and they add it on rice and have it. Uh, Chinese nightlife. I went out with a friend that night because I had only one night in Shanghai and I couldn't waste it. So until 3 a.m. I was out with a friend. I went to a few pubs, and then I was out there on the street walking. I made him try the shao kao, the Chinese barbecue. It was for 7 RMB, so 70 rupees. You can choose any meat, and he just cooks it and yeah, gives it to you. You can add chilies and different flavoring seasonings. This is a Indonesian snack that you only get in China, Thailand, and Indonesia. only 3 countries. Gemes, it's called, and it's a dry noodle thing that you can directly eat out of the pack, and it's very tasty. If you any happen to visit Indonesia or China, you should definitely try it. Yeah, so this was the night market that I visited. It was a store, and I like Chinese snacks a lot. Once you stay in China for a long while, you are able to get to know about many snackable items that are there that you can have with beer or any other drink or anytime if you're on during traveling. Also, they have many things. You have peanuts, right? Masala peanuts. So they have many different flavors of peanuts which the Indian, for an Indian taste bud, it would be very weird. But once you get used to it, you don't think that they are bland. You don't think they are less sweet. When you eat it for the first time, you definitely would feel that it's not a thing that you like to consume. For breakfast, we had options of many types of noodles, hand pulled, and you can choose any one of them. You can add the topping, and the lady used to cook it for us. This was the main hall for our breakfast. We were staying in a French built hotel. It is one of the most oldest hotel. The name of the hotel is the Shanghai Hotel, and it was very
So this
ancient.
was
The
in the
architecture.
French, the French district.
Yeah, it was in the French district. It was in Phuthong, but the French district. And yeah, the room that we were staying in was like it took us off. We had nothing. I had never stayed in a room with such great automation. So you could open the door with fingerprints. So they take the biometric data at the check-in counter, and you can open it with a fingerprint. Then the toilet seat, it opens automatically when you go inside. And there was a whole panel, like a panel with around 18 buttons, and the features I don't think I can tell you, but they were very interesting. The seat gets heated, and you get massage also. It was built by Kohler. I was thinking it was made by a Chinese company, but it is not. It's a German thing, but I saw it for the first time. It was first time. The room had a do not disturb button, so when you press it, all the sounds are off. No one can call you. The bell, as like obviously it gets switched off. And the next day, what happened is one of our guy, he did not wake up. He set the alarm for 6 p.m. and all of us had breakfast, and we were trying to call him. We went to the reception and asked them to call him, and they were said, sorry sir, he has switched on the do not disturb function, so we cannot reach him. We were banging on his door, and he put the earplugs in, and he was sleeping. Like, he woke up at 6:30, then he came down for breakfast, and we left at 7 that day. So that was the first time that the representatives that were there in China, who were like the mediators, who were the interpreters, who were from the Foreign Affairs Office, they got to know on the first day that we will not be punctual for the rest of the journey. So the leader of our group, he was Ajay Kamlakaran. He's a author. He has lived in Russia for 5 years, and he works for the Scroll also. It's a magazine, and he called them and said to them that every day he gave them a prior idea that every day some of us would be late, so you plan accordingly. And they said they are already used to the Indian stretchable time that they have. So this is the impression that they have of us. Okay, so that was Shanghai, just one night. The second day we went to Changzhou. It's in Jiangxi province, and it was a 5-hour drive from Shanghai, and it's one of the biggest factories that I have visited. Uh, During my graduation, I was into business management, so the college had organized many industrial visits and sort of stuff. But this was completely out of the box. Like such big scope, such big scale, I had never seen before. So when you enter the factory, there is this board. There's written like the history of the this plant, and when it started, when was it established, when the first car came out, and wait. So the BYD company started by Wang Chuanfu, and he comes from a poor family, a poor farmers family, and he was not quite like an enthusiastic guy in school, and he was laughed at. He had many dreams, and people said like you will not amount to anything. And just like any other inspirational story, he also went to found the most great company that would manufacture the electric hybrid cars. So it's a leader in electric and hybrid vehicles in the world. It has overtaken Tesla in 2023, and now it's the biggest manufacturer of electric vehicles all over the world. It produces 3 million vehicles per year, and it has 36 manufacturing plants in China and around the world. So one is in India, in Telangana. There's other in Thailand, and others are in the western region like US and UK. Okay, so the plant we visited was fully automated. It has 450 robots, but we were not allowed to film. We were this photo I took from the internet. We were not allowed to take the photos, and they had huge glass panels at like covering the robots. So it was not for people to see, but for dust to not enter the premises. So each robot had its own glass panel, and they were working seamlessly. I'll show you. There are buildings inside the plant which accommodate around 4,000 employees. There are couples that stay on the plant, and every morning the wife and husband they go for work, and they have 9 hour shifts. And if you wish to work more, they pay you more, and there's no limit on that. You can have a 12-hour shift and get more money out of it. So usually the people four days a week they do 12-hour shifts, and the guy that I asked, he said they do it willingly. We do not force them beyond 9 hours, but because they can earn more money, they are willing to do that. So these are the buildings that we were not allowed to take photographs, but when I was in the bus, I had like secretly clicked the photos. These are the pictures that I clicked. So they are not quite good, but you can get an idea of how they live. They're like a single apartment, single room. In one room, there's a like a cabin sort of thing. There's a kitchen. They mostly don't cook because they have a huge canteens in the premises itself, and they have food there only. It was very clean. It was like not other plant that I've seen such with such organized infrastructure.
Huge. It's just as one side of it actually.
Yeah, this was just from the from that plant to the exit gate, and they only took us to the last processing unit. The prior ones they did not show us the primary assembly. This is the Changzhou city outside, just outside the factory. They have like row houses sort of things, and also tall like high rises. And this is a third tier city in China, so you'll not be able to make out. It's same like Shanghai, but it's a third tier city. You cannot see people spitting anywhere or cursing each other. Anytime you go out for a stroll in China, you'll not hear any honking. So that's the observation that my friend made. We were like during the busiest hours, we were there in a crossroad, at a crossroad, and saying this so it's so silent, and like you come to
No,
any.
I think behind this, so every city has a very small area
Uh-huh.
which is behind this,
Uh-huh.
and that has it's a very closed community and
Right,
a
right.
small road
Small
and
alleys and
small
sort of.
alleys, and
Right.
that is different.
Right.
It's a different world, and this is a different world.
Correct, correct. But Since 20, no, I don't know the exact year, but the Chinese, like the government, they have started to change that. So they are closing down the alleys. They transfer all the people to other place. They they take it down. They build other new buildings there. They still exist, but it's yeah, not quite, yeah.
No, this because I'm talking about 2009.
Right. So the same thing. I went after 5 years, and I thought like Shanghai would be the same. After 5 years, what would be the like what? There would be no change, but it's a hell lot of change that you can get to know if you have visited there before. This was the lunch that we had. This is tofu now. It's tofu. It's like soup, hot and not hot and sour, only sour. And these are beef noodles. This is fish with the lemongrass and rice noodles. It was very tender, one of the most tender fish that I had in my life. These were cold noodles. This is again the hong shao rou, but not sweet. The Shanghai version is sweet. This wasn't, and this was the name of the hotel that we had dinner at. This was the Grand Metro Park Universal Dinosaur Town Hotel. So I don't know how they translated it, but and on our way back to like the visit was went for 1 or 2 hours max, and again we had to drive back to Shanghai directly to Shanghai airport, and there was an accident in between, and we got delayed by 5 to 6 hours, and so we missed our flight. So the embassy in Mumbai, they again bought new tickets for the same day at night. On the way we took a pit stop at a food court sort of thing, and there we bought this Russian ice cream. So this is Ajay Kamlakaran that I told you about. So he went mad when he saw a Russian ice cream and he bought it for me. So this was Lanzhou. We were planned. Well, the actual schedule was to reach Lanzhou by 9 p.m. and we reached it by 1 a.m. And then the and this was the picture I took when we entered the city. This was a crossroad, and it was completely silent and so clean. You cannot see garbage anywhere in China, like not a single time. There are, in Shanghai also, we observed every half an hour there's a truck that comes by. There are bins at every crossroad, and they empty the bins. If there's if there's a pothole, there's an inspection. There's an inspector who goes after every half an hour. The inspector who walks by and he notes down. You can see a truck that will come by after half an hour and they'll repair it and go ahead. So it's very very fast. Here, if there's a pothole, I don't know where they plan to make the whole new road, and then also they use tar. They make tar roads, and the potholes are not the potholes, the drainage holes. They are left open like that.
There's also one truck that comes to wash. So the roads are washed
Oh,
every
right,
day.
right.
So even if it's been twice or thrice that I was on the bus stop, and then everybody is moving ahead, running away, So I'm like, what happened? And then I realized that there is this truck coming to wash the roads. So then you have to step aside.
Right.
There is washed and it's washed. So, yeah.
They use like air like guns, right?
For me, like
To
I have seen the water proper.
Okay.
Water
Oh,
washing.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. So next day in Lanzhou, I again with that friend of mine, I went for a morning walk at 7 a.m. or sorts. And Lanzhou is the place. It's the origin of ramen. So this is like Lanzhou New Romian, and so it is called lamian, so pulled noodles, and that word eventually went to, I don't know how it went, but so you can see many different kinds of stuff that they have for breakfast. Mostly it has eggs and breads, the flat breads that they have. Can any one of you read the names that are written? Ria maybe, or so it's Kaolang Mian is like cold noodles. Khao Chang is the sausage. Rochamo is a bread that is filled with pork and capsicum and seasoning. So it's the Rojamu is called a Chinese burger. It's their version of burger. Chitan Chienping is one of my favorite dishes. It's like omelette, but they use mung bean paste, and they make a dosa out of it. On that they add eggs. Then they add a fried like papad sort of thing, and they add chili oil, and tochang is like bean paste, and then they fold it and give it to you. And it's one of the best thing that I like in China. The most favorite breakfast food that they have. Actually,
Easily available also.
yeah, it's easily available. The origin place is Tianjin, and it's famous in whole of China now. But you can get it anywhere, but the original of that thing is Tianjin. This is the Rochamo. These are the breads that they cut and they fill the stuffing inside. This was the breakfast that I had at our hotel back at. These are again Lanzhou Neuromian. So I don't know how many of you have tried beef here. Oh, great!
I tried the Lanzhou
Oh,
in
wow,
recently
wow,
for
awesome!
the first time.
In
It
in
tasted quite similar to the mutton my mom makes.
oh, yeah, you cannot make a big difference, but after a while you can make out the difference. It
Yeah,
tastes like
not the
a
same,
bit
but
creamy,
very that marination was there.
right? Awesome. And we were like stopping by the cart. There were many carts, and we were stopping by, and there were people who used to go from there to work daily, and they were already like knowing the guy who was making the stuff, and they used to like chat the same like we have right or at the thela or the vada pav wala guy who knows you. So the same thing they have. It was quite amusing to watch that. Okay, so on the first day of Lanzhou, they took us to the Gansu Museum, Heritage Museum, and there these are some of the artifacts that I saw. This is like a deepma, you know that we have deepma at out of our temples. It's a similar kind of thing in ancient China that you have wicks here, oil wicks, and they used to put it during any like ceremony or function. And this is a they in Chinese they call it ting. It's a cauldron, and it's used for like prayers. So whenever a person dies, and if he's from a big family like emperor or something, so they write his name on it, and the cauldron is raised like put just besides his grave, and so people come and pray. They put incense sticks in that and sort of thing. So from that, when they the archaeology department, when they find it, they try to find inscriptions on it, so they are able to make out which emperor or his wife or for which person was that cauldron made. This was the ancient silk route that went from the you can also see it came to India, Turkey, Afghanistan, and other areas. This was the main attraction that they have, the flying horse of Kansu. So they believe that this is a swallow that the horse is flying on, and it's perfectly balanced. It just has one foot on it, and the other three are in the air. And the expression is also like during war times if the horse is running. So that's the expression. And Chinese businessman has gifted a big statue of this horse to a city, some Lexington or something in US, and they have a copy of it in US, like a big statue of it there. These were the instruments. There were many things, but I just took click pictures of a few. This is the pipa, and this it's a Chinese harp or something. I don't know the name. Okay, so the main thing about Kanso is that it has a lot of caves. It has many places that are related to Buddhism, which came mostly from India and Tibet towards China, and they have many relics and manuscripts and many things that are related to Buddhism. So every museum you visit in Kansu, it will have uh, stuff related to Buddha. Okay, so Lanzhou again. Uh, After that day we went to a different place called New Lanzhou area. it's a different city besides Lanzhou, and it's completely like you have Nanded city and Lavasa and Magarpatta city. It's like that, but on a very huge scale. So they have many industries that they built there, especially for the people who are living in that area. So they expect many people from villages to come and live in that city, and they find employment there. And the things that usually you can buy there are very cheap, and it's easier for people to migrate to that city. So they look to it, the government looks to it that it has great public transport, great infrastructure, and it's only focused on employing people from villages and like growing the industries there. So it was a complete, Lanzhou is in between a desert, and this city, new Lanzhou area that they have developed is like they have many industries that they export flowers, medicines, vehicles, and many stuff that they make there itself, and they export it all over the world. They took us to a nursery, rose nursery. It had 54 types of different roses that were like grown in Lanzhou. Many of the species were developed there, like hybrid sort of things. And they also have a different fragrant flowers are different, and the yeah, without fragrance are the ones, the fragrant ones are very costly, and they mostly, he told me that it went to Japan and France, the fragrant roses, for maybe essence making or something, I don't know. So this is a Lanzhou yogurt. It has sesame seeds and peanuts on it, and it's not sweet, but it's good. This is rice paper rolls. We get it here also. This was a tea with some 8 things were there. Goji berry was there. Dates, tea leaves. These are some dragon eyeballs, they say, but I don't know what's the actual herb that they are using. This was jellyfish. I tried it for the first time. These were the bakery things that are there in Lanzhou. It has an influence of like many Turkish stuff. It was like very fragrant, and the spices that they use add it like mildly. They add the spices, and the flavor is very interesting. This is cucumber. This is uh, yeah, vada, but it was like a good puri. It was sweet, and they gave us some sweet sauce, like milkmaid like sauce with it, and you have to dip it in and eat it. It was the most, like the dish that our people liked it the most, because the other stuff they were not willing to try it, or the taste was different. For a first time visitor, it's not quite usual to try new Chinese dishes and like it at the first time. This was rice, like glutinous rice cakes with dates in it. Sorry, not dates, red beans. This was chicken. This is mutton. This was the dish that our people thought was the most. The taste was closest to the Indian mutton curry or stuff, like the Indian curries. This is the new Lanchao area. The flowers that I told you about. This was a museum that they took us to. It was a Communist Party museum, like focusing mainly on the things that Communist Party did for the Lanchao people. There is a message from Xi Jinping about the Lanzhou new area and the development that will be taking place. So propaganda mostly. Yeah, this is my favorite ice cream in China. Yumi, what Yumi cow. So it's Yumi is corn. So sweet corn is called Yumi, and they have a ice cream with the flavor of sweet corn, and they have a like a waffle cone made out of corn itself, and you first eat the waffle and then the corn ice cream. This is lotus stem dish. I took this picture to show it to my wife, because she has had the crispy lotus root that we get in any Chinese restaurant in Pune, but this is how actually the lotus stem is cooked and not the way that it's made here. I have visited a grocery shop at 2 p.m. Sorry, 2 a.m. at night, and the guy there was curious. I was wearing a mask and a cap like the one she's wearing right now, and he was looking at me very weirdly, like some outside guy has come at 2 a.m. at night. That too in Lanchao, where not many foreigners are there. So I bought a packet of cigarette, and some biscuits. And then I was just randomly asking him about the different brands of cigarettes that he had. And he, while I checked out, I paid the bill, and he just gave me these 2 packets of the Lanzhou made cigarettes that were manufactured in Lanzhou for free. And so these are the things that when they are interested in you, they are very friendly, and you are easily able to make friends with them, because many Indian people think that the Chinese people are not quite friendly, or they are rude at first. But that's not the thing. Just the way of their expression is different. If we meet in India, the people start smiling, but there they don't smile. Even if they feel it, they might feel it, but they'll not show it on their face. Like, okay, so this is the new Lanchao area video. I'll show you it. I have shot many governmental buildings that are there. And the digitalization that they have at the museums is very world class. Like, nowhere can it be seen in India. At least I haven't seen it till now. This was the actual thing that was there for display, and this was a glass. There was a glass in front of it covering it, and the guide that was there, she was explaining us about all the artifacts, and randomly she clicked on the glass, and suddenly a picture of that artifact appeared on it, and you can move it 3D. Like, there's a video that plays.
And the design can contain oil inside. Like
This is the oil lamp again.
gasoline. We have using the short video. This kind of relic in China today we have unearthed only 7 pieces. When it unearthed, we still find a little gold inside. This one in one period of China can be dated back to about 2,700 years ago. And then we have another video to show the includes.
Oh, it's done.
This way, we have defined the first way just to show it clearly and let people have communication with the relic.
Yeah, and this is a kid that was using the interface there at the museum, and was exploring the artifact there. And I was just wondering, so Chinese kids from such a small age, they are able to access such, like, they were able to uh, look at such things with such ease. I only remember visiting museums like Kilkar Sangrahalaya that we have in Pune, and just watching things, and there was information written on it. But this is a very new concept, and I guess we can, like, there's possibility of bringing that to China. Like,
These are also quite efficient.
yeah, very efficient, right, right.
This technology can be done because otherwise we don't know
In India also, now if you visit a restaurant, if there's a family with a baby, they just they play a video on YouTube and hand it over to the baby, and they keep him busy. So kids here, know from since childhood how to use the technology, right? Very smart. These are a few people that I met. This is a kid who was very jolly, and this is the foreign affairs minister of Lanzhou. Okay, so the main city that I wanted to talk about today is Dunhuang, and it's in Gansu. It's a desert, and it was a hub of the ancient Silk Road. It was a hub where traders came and they stayed. They exchanged goods, and they got to know about the Chinese culture there. They brought their own culture there, and there are many impressions of those cultures like Greek, Persian, Indian that you can see in that city. So this was the hotel that we were staying in. It is the best hotel in Dunhuang that the embassy had arranged for us, and it is a castle they have built, and they have made rooms in that castle, and this was the main hall when you enter, and this is the room. I'll just show you. It's very cringy, but still I'll show you. All the carpets and all the stuff that they use is of like very pure Chinese thing that they have. And at night they just put on lights, and there are like mashali sarka like fires that they put up on every path that you go through. Okay, this was the lunch at Tunhuang. This is Kung Pao Chi Ting, the Kung Pao chicken, but this was the first time I saw it plated this way. These were rice crisps, I guess kurdaya that we have. It was like same, just kurdaya and placed Kung Pao chicken. This is the famous Lanzhou lamb chops that they had. This is tofu covered in uh, covered in flour and with a stinky sauce. And these are the dumplings, the common dumplings that they have. So this is a different sauce. They usually give you soya sauce and chili oil in other parts, but in Lanchao they served us something different. I don't know what. It had beans in it, bean sprouts. They are usually not there in oils and sauces, but it was there. Okay, so these were the Mokau grottos, the Mokau caves that are there in Tunhuang. They date back to 1000 or maybe 1500 years back. They were created when a few monks or traders who believed in Buddhism who came to Tunhuang, and they started like making caves there for meditation. And after that, it became a place where Buddhism would flourish, and where people from all parts of the world or traders who went through that part, they and who believed in Buddhism, they made their own contributions. So what they did was to like in here outside the temples, there's a like a stone placard that is put, and there's a name like this guy has contributed. So similarly, they made Buddhist contributions there, where they brought artisans from Hong Kong, from India, from Persia, from Greece, and they made them paint murals. They made sculptures there of Buddha. And so each cave, they have around 700 caves that have been discovered till now, just at Mokau. There are many other places in Tunhuang where they have caves, but Mokau is the biggest one, and there are 700 caves right now operational, and each cave is different from the first, and they have different cultures that you can see there. Each Buddha, every Buddha's eyes are different, his expressions are different, and the material that they use to make those sculptures and paintings are different. So this was the place where lapis lazuli, the stone, was first time used to make a pigment, and from there now it's used all over the world. So the blue pigment, in every cave almost you can see lapis lazuli there. They also use uh, the gold paper, त्याला ते मिठाईवर लावतात ना चांदी, त्याला काय म्हणतात माहिती मला. So the thin gold sheets that they use, they are there in many paintings, but they are only above the level where your hand can reach, because the ones below have been carved out. The gold has been taken by maybe looters or stuff. So at Mukau there was a theater there where they showed us two videos. So the first was a normal one with a 180-degree screen, and the other was a dome shape that we have at Nehru Center, Mumbai, uh, planetarium type. So there on the same day there was a school. It's the place is called Chuchuan. Chuchuan Archung is like the middle school of Chuchuan. The students, they had come for the visit there on the same day. So, and we were the only foreigners there. So they were so excited to interact with all of us. And the teacher was not allowing them to speak to us. And so there they were walking in a line, and we were here, and they used to scream, and they were trying to speak English. and they also call curse words, and the teacher started scolding them that you should not use them like that. They were around 9 standard students. So they were made to wait outside a gate, and we were brought in from a different gate. And so the topmost line was reserved for us. And we came and sat. All the officials, Chinese officials, were sitting on the line above. And then they opened the gates for these students, and everybody just buzzed in. And again, after the theater, when we went to the caves, the students were there, and there we got the time to interact with them. So these are the few paintings. These are the pictures I took from the internet. This is how they repair the works that have been destroyed. And this company Bosch, they have provided them with many tools and many like upgraded technology that they have. They have seismic sensors. Like if there's going to be an earthquake, they get a prior notice, like half an hour or something, and all the caves are sealed then, and the people are evacuated. And even if the humidity increases by certain points, there are alarms that go off, and you have to close the door to keep the humidity off, like out from, because the murals get affected. The Mukau grottos is also, the second name is a thousand Buddha caves. So every cave you visit has thousand paintings of thousand Buddhas, maybe on the ceiling, on the walls, anywhere. In total, there are thousand Buddhas. These are the flying apsaras that are there, that they say were there to entertain the Buddha. They used to play music, they used to dance, and their clothes. They have a lot of impressions from India. The work that are there on the clothes and the expressions that are there, the crowns that they have. Many people say that it must be and they are called apsaras, flying apsaras. So the word itself comes from Sanskrit. Okay, this is the cave number 96, and it was the biggest. There's a huge Buddha inside. It's the biggest Buddha at Mogao, and it was destroyed for many generations. Every dynasty came and destroyed it somehow. I don't know, during the warring period. And so right now, some businessman from Hong Kong, he came and donated money to build this structure, 9-story structure, so that it's safe. So it's not visible from outside like the Lashan Buddha, but it's safe now. The statue remains safe, and people come there. They visit. Many girls in China, like many teenage girls, they are excited to buy these ancient, like traditional Chinese dresses online. They get it very cheap on Taobao, and they wear it, and they like cosplay. Yeah, right, and they just click photos and they return it. But they are very fond of doing that, and many Chinese people don't even keep their profile picture of their own. They are very private about their stuff. Like they fear that people might use them for the wrong things, because they have facial recognition. And in Shanghai, there's facial payment already started. You can just stand there, you get scanned, and the payment is done. So maybe they fear that. This was the minister of like foreign affairs in Dunhuang. She's her girl, like her kid. Oh, again, the head things that I told you about. This is chicken, the fish, and the fish eye is actually a delicacy in China. Whenever you go, when the meal starts, the kids or the people there, they just rush to take the eye out and eat it. I have not tried it yet. This was like a puff. It was very soft, and it filled with black sesame and sweet, like and sugar. So sweet paste, and it was very crispy. So just when you take it, it just goes on, just blows up in your hand. So these are the lamb barbecue skewers. Okay, this is Mingsha Shan and Yue Chuan. So this is the crescent spring that's there since ages, and the water never dries up. It's an oasis in the desert, and it's called the Singing Mountains also. Mingsha Shan, it means singing mountains. So whenever you go up and down the sand dunes or the sand hills, you're able to hear a drumming sound that comes, and you're like, oh, like how does it make? So that's how it's called the singing mountains. And the Chuchuan, the city that I told you about, is a satellite launch station. It has one of the launch stations in that. So the army and areas that are secured here are also too many. So like the common people are not allowed to access all the areas. So we actually climbed the mountain here, and we thought we could go further, but there was the army place there, and you cannot even take pictures of the scenery there.
So you get shoes like that.
Yeah, they give us shoes so that the sand does not enter your feet, and all the pathways that were there, the building, the structure that was there here, right? So there were many paths that have been concrete paths, but the one thing I noticed that there was no sand on the concrete paths, and just right where the path ends, the sand starts. I don't know if they sweep it or what, how it's so perfect, but it was very clean. And this was, I guess, in autumn, but during the summer season, the whole like it's green, completely green, and it's very picturesque. So this kid, I was staring at him for almost 15 minutes, and I tried to have a conversation with him, but he did not speak a word. I don't know why. His sister was very happening, like she was like we exchanged stuff. I gave her candies, and but he did not change his expression all the time. Like for 15 minutes, he was just looking at us like that. Okay, so the main thing that we went there was this symposium with the ministry at Dunhuang. So what they have is they are inviting delegations from all over the world to come and get to know Dunhuang and the history behind that city and behind the Silk Route and Buddhism, and how many of these ancient civilizations and cultures came together at one place here. So we were fortunate enough to be a part of it and to go there, and we had many discussions. This is the mayor of Dunhuang. She's the foreign affairs minister, and she's a English teacher, and she's like there's a media guy, and there were many like a similar delegations like us. They had created of their own, and we exchanged our thoughts. They tried to like we tried to exchange thoughts on tourism, that we can bring Indian people here, but at the same time they said that you are not giving visa. Like, it's very hard for a Chinese person to get an Indian visa right now. So they were troubled on that, and we said that we will come back and we'll talk with the people here to try to make out things. And recently after our visit, there was a meet between the Chinese foreign minister Wang Yi or somebody and Jaishankar, and now they are planning to have direct flights between India and China back again. So they are going the Lanzhou area that I told. There are going to be around 12 or 13 universities that are being constructed right now, and each of the university has many different departments of different fields, and they are going to open it up for international students. They are going to be having scholarships which are going to be, which will be having a low eligibility criteria. Anyone can go there like that. So we had talks with them that when the scholarship starts, they would be telling us, and it would be very great for Indian people to go to such different place in China. Usually Indian people, they tend to go to Guangzhou or Beijing or the main cities, but this is a very different part. If you go here, you will be able to understand their culture very deeply. So in Dunhuang, there's this optoelectric plant, and it's the first one that has been made in China. It has around like 40,000 mirrors, and the mirrors, like, they reflect the sunlight towards a central tower, and it has some like material that absorbs heat, salts. Yeah, yeah, and it provides electricity for Dunhuang and three cities that are nearby, and there is excess of electricity that is wasted. So and they are trying to bring this technology around in other parts of the world right now. So when you start entering, it just keeps on going for around 1.5 kilometer. There's just this, you can only see mirrors, nothing else. And it's huge. There's a truck that goes between the mirrors to clean them, and the time is like 4 seconds for each panel. So in 4 seconds, one of the mirror is cleaned. So the good part, they said they actually don't need the solar cell that's there in this technology. They only require mirrors. So even if a mirror breaks, they just have to replace the mirror. There's not the solar panel kind of thing. The photovoltaic cell, I think the panels require it. So this they don't require. This is the view from outside our room. It was in the middle of the desert, and at night it was very beautiful to roam around. It was chilly. It was -5, and there were no shops or any restaurants outside the hotel. So this is the night market that we visited. This is the hotel at night. Okay. So now the last city, Beijing. You know this structure, right?
Yes, for the density.
Yes. So the day we landed was the day when Beijing had the highest amount of smog in past 2 months. What I was told by my friend, that on that day itself there was so much of smog that our flight got delayed by 2 hours, and there was no visibility at all. And it was like I had not seen Beijing like that before. But they said that it only happens like once or twice a month. Other days are very clear. This was the Communist Party museum that they built in 2020, and it also has all the modern features. They have a 4D ride there. They make you sit, 4 people, and the screen opens and you enter it, and inside there's a 4D experience, like video of China, and all the cities are covered in that, and you feel as if like you're sitting in a drone and you're moving. So they just tell you that if you feel nauseous, then you just take your hand up, and there are cameras that detect your hand and they stop the video that there itself. It's like a roller coaster. You're sitting inside that, and when like you go inside the water to see the underground water tunnels, the actual water splashes on you, and sort of like 4D experience. This was the hotel breakfast in Beijing. The Chien Ping that I told you about, Mung Bean. I tried to make that here, and it tasted quite good. I bought stuff from Dorabji's, and I could get hands on many of the authentic sauces. The roast duck, the way of eating it. They have this tofu skin, and you add the roast duck in it. You add the oyster sauce. You add some few cucumber slices, and then you roll it, and then you eat it. That way it tastes better. Yeah. So this was our visit to Beijing University, where again we had interaction with students who were learning Hindi. There were around 25 to 30 of them, and they were very excited to interact with us. They had a poem called Asu from Bengal, I think, some poet from Bengal. I'm not aware about. They recited that, and some of them spoke in Hindi to us, and the others sang this song. It's like Okay. I just kept it because I wanted to hear the pronunciations that they were making. They were funny, but they were so desperate to present it right so that we don't feel like bad. And then we exchanged contacts, and then I'm still in contact with many students there, and they wish to come to India, but they are not able to get the visas. So we are still working on it with the embassy to bring them here, mostly at Mumbai, Kalina University or sorts. So this was the thing that I ate at the last dinner that we had in Beijing. So it's same like gul poi, and it's called chama chiang thang ping. Chama chiang is sesame sauce, thang is sugar, ping is bread or pancake. So it was same. Like when we ate, the first thought that came to my mind is gul poi, and because it has like sesame in it, right? So Sankrant, we have Sankrant coming right ahead of it. This is the rice wine, the Changzhou pie. This is the most famous brand that teenagers love. It's like a deshi Chinese daru. These were like jelly-like things with red beans and cranberry sauce. This was again jellyfish. Okay, so a few pointers that I noticed during my visit is cleanliness. I have visited Shanghai 4 times before, and this time it was different. The things that I told you about the footpath, if it's broke, it's repaired in half an hour, or there's no garbage that you can see out there. Before, there used to be rural guys who used to keep their bellies open and used to just roam around in Shanghai. They were worker class, and anytime they feel that they used to spit, not eating tambaku, but just natural. But right now, this visit, I did not see a single Chinese person spitting anywhere, and I did not see any persons quarreling or talking loudly. I don't know how they did it, but I felt it was more civilized than what I had seen 5 years before. Uh, Everywhere you go, like train stations, airports, museums, there's a lot of digitalization that has taken place. They have brought in technology in every part of life where they can bring it, where it's possible. uh, and the thing that I was heard the most is punctuality, because since first day each and every person of our delegation was yeah, coming late on some or the other day. And the Chinese people, they were on time every time, right? I've worked with them for 5 years. I've done interpretations, I've uh, worked in hotels, I've worked in sound engineering stuff, and every time I go, they are on time. When the time is given, they are either early or on time. There's not a single time that I have experienced where a Chinese guy has come late to an appointment or a meeting. It never happens. And whereas in India, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. For them, they had accepted it as a cultural thing. They said only they observed, like many delegations that came there, the representative that was there with us, she said, I think it's a cultural thing. She only got this experience with India and African people. Both of these people were late, and others all were on time. So this this thing, I I think that Indian people should follow somewhere down the line in future. This should be brought up in schools, or I don't know how to implement it, but this is a important factor while doing business with people outside India. So they judge you, and they make an image out of you on how you are believing, and on how punctual you are there. And many people back in the day when I had interacted with, they said that don't feel bad, but you know that Indians are liars, right? And I was asking, why do you think they are liars? That they said many experiences that they had, they were lied to some or the other way. And the one I observed, like a personal experience that I got was, I came back to from Beijing. We came to Hong Kong airport, and from Hong Kong we had the flight back to Mumbai. And there was a guy. He was from army, and he was with his family. and he wanted desperately to enter the line. Like when the boarding process started, there was a huge line, and he wanted to skip that, and he was trying desperately to get into the line, and it did not happen. And there was a business class line which was empty. Right? Many times the people, they already check in, and it's empty there. So the air hostess was standing there. So not the air hostess, the crew, and she called out to someone, and this guy pretended that to think that she is calling him, and he took his family and he went there and he started quarreling with him that you called me right now, and why are you not letting me in. And all of the people, they observed this, but no, none of them like raised their voices, that they saw what happened there. He was just, he couldn't wait in the line, and he started calling with that crew, and they had to let him in somehow with the family. But this was a very bad thing that happened in front of my eyes, that not all the people we know that like not all Indians are like that. But this is a bad experience that you get when it comes to India. The the personalities or the way they behave, it's not exactly bad, but it's not good for when you are dealing with other people outside the world, which are sort of better. Yeah, street food hygiene is that many carts and many small restaurants that own, like we have Vaidya Misal in Pune. I don't know how many of you have heard of it. It's the first misal in Pune, and it's a very dirty place. When you go there, the misal is good. I like it personally. It's not spicy, but there's no hygiene, no gloves, no what caps, and nothing. The fat guy is sitting on the counter. He just screams and orders the waiters to serve us the misal, and it's very bad. And there were many places in China like these that I have visited, and the food there was very authentic. Like the stuff, there was a place in Tianjin. They served yunthun and chaoping. Yunthun is wonton. So the wonton soup was the grandmother that was there, the granny. She was like 80 years or something, and she used to make that soup. And there was people used to line up at 5 a.m. outside her restaurant. And after 2 years, when I went back, the shop was closed. And I asked nearby. They said they are like rearranging the policies of how restaurants should operate. So they had been given an order, that family had been given an order, a notice, that either you renovate or you close down. And they did not have the money to renovate, so the place was closed down. It was the restaurant was between two high rises, and it was just like a tapri. You just go inside. There was a like an alley where you sit, have the noodles, sorry, the wontons, and you get out. But the place was closed down. There was nothing there. So like the sanitation and hygiene, and bring it to the street food also. So everywhere you have to have license, so that okay. Okay, I'll just talk about my previous experiences a bit. This was the Chinhua homestay that I got to know from TOD, and many of us that time applied. I think there were 4 or 5 TOD students with me at that time, and it was the first time when I went to China. We were staying with a Chinese. How do I say? A friend of mine was cutting his nails, and I looked at my watch. It was Saturday, and I remembered my mom has told me not to cut my nails on Saturday. And I was like, "Oh, this is such a crazy thing. That what's the purpose? It's a scientific thing that nails are bad. You can cut it anytime." But many people here have many such beliefs, you know of, that are there in our culture, but that are not present there, and that makes life easy. I think there are no complications. Is it
When I
Ushta?
stayed,
Yeah.
when I stayed for the first time that I went to China in the university, yeah, it was almost the first time. Of course, US had been through, but then that was again with my family and all of that, so it was not much. But I stayed, and then I realized that when I came back to India, when I'm going across the street, whenever I see a temple, I'm going down. So the previous house, I used to go down at 6 temples till I reach the main road. So then I realized for 1.5 months, whatever 3 months, I had not gone down to any temple going here and there. And then I realized how much I do it.
Right.
And you're constantly thinking of something. Okay, this temple is coming, this is coming, this is coming. Here you're not supposed to wear shoes, here you're not. And then 3 months of complete none of it. That, of course, you see all foreign places, not just this one. But sometimes as a student, the first time you realize these things.
Yeah, same when I went in China, you have to eat non-veg, right? And here, my mom doesn't allow me to eat non-veg on Thursdays. And so there, and when I first went, I was following that thing, and I wasn't able to explain to my Chinese friend that why am I not eating non-veg on Thursday.
Why you are vegetarian on this?
Yeah, yeah, only on a single day. Other days you can eat. That's very weird. Okay, sorry, I just forgot. I want to show you a video of Dunhuang, and I'll just show it to you right now, and we'll come back to this slide again. Yeah, can you just take a video of it?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
The hair.
敦煌地处甘肃省河西走廊最西端，甘肃、青海、新疆三省交界处。自汉武帝凿空西域，据两关列4郡起，敦煌已有2100多年的历史。世界文化遗产莫高窟是世界现存规模最大、延续时间最长、内容最丰富、保存最完整的艺术宝库。自1900年莫高窟藏经洞发现以来，敦煌学风靡全球，成为世界公认的国际显学。如洪流般扎根在这里的一代又一代莫高窟守护者，用莫高精神保护、研究、弘扬着敦煌文化。国家5A级景区鸣沙山月牙泉被人们誉为爱情圣地。鸣沙山阳刚，月牙泉秀美，千百年来相依相守，沙不掩泉，泉不和解。更为神奇的是，当人们从山顶滑沙而下，山林便发出隆隆的响声，如战鼓鸣响。世界文化遗产玉文关位于敦煌西北，与地处敦煌西南部的阳关一起扼守着这片绿洲。作为中国最早的海关，两关遗址见证了丝绸之路这条开放之路的兴衰轮替。诉说昔日繁华的世界文化遗产泉泉志，都是那个伟大时代去之早早的历史见证。穿行在敦煌雅丹世界地质公园，如入神秘莫测的魔鬼城，让人产生无限的遐想。繁华热闹的敦煌夜市，蔚为壮观的敦煌光电产业园区，无不吸引着游客的目光。而今，敦煌境内高速公路、动车、机场的逐步升级和国际航空口岸开放，让丝路敦煌离世界不再遥远。随着习近平总书记“一带一路”伟大倡议的提出，敦煌成为国际文化交流的前沿阵地，国家向西开放的重要窗口，迎来了千载难逢的发展时期。这座承载丝绸之路复兴梦想的国际文化旅游名城，正在习近平新时代中国特色社会主义思想指引下，加快建设大敦煌文化旅游经济圈，推动敦煌文化服务，共建“一带一路”。
Yeah, that was the promotional video of Dunhuang that was sent to me by the Foreign Affairs Office there, and there's also the show they took us to. It's called the Ancient Sound of Dunhuang, and it's the most like technologically advanced performance that I have seen. It has pyrotechnics and 3D effects that are used. It's a 1.5 hour long show, and the ticket is like around 3,000 rupees. And it's a live experience. Like the gates open, and it's like you are entering a cave, and the live performers come there wearing those ancient clothes, and they have made a story out of it, explaining the Silk Road and how the trade worked there. I'll just show an introductory video of that show here.
你可以看到我身后，就是我们就像是一个洞窟一样的。其实我们观众在这里候场，在进剧场的一刹那，它就有如当年就是王仁禄他可能发现了这个藏经洞一般。那么地区它就更加生动了。我们直接就把敦煌莫高窟做成一个行进式的。首先守在我们莫高窟洞窟前面的有2个金刚力士，那么他们呢非常逼真。就好像真的就是洞窟里的就是雕塑复活了一样。再进入到我们的就是洞窟里边呢，就能看到我们演员所扮演的活化后的祭月神。最后就是观众坐下来的 C 区，我们也是借用了壁画里的鱼骨式构图所以我们是从平面层面也好，还是从我们的立体空间层面也好，其实都是在把壁画做一个结构。所以我们是通过飞天也好人灯起伏也好，还是每一秒都是按照壁画的结构由上到中到下来去展现我们整个的一个壁画的一个结构。那么观众就有如坐在壁画里去观赏我们整体的演出。
关于故事很喜欢，然后在其实服装还有道具也这边就吸。
There are 200 performers that perform, and 150 people who are backstage, and the entire theater is mobile. Like you can take down the theater and take it to a different city, install it there, and make the performances there, and then travel. And it's like one of a kind in China. Okay, so this was I was there in Changzhou University where Pratik visited. I was there for a year on a 1-year scholarship program to learn Chinese language. Okay, संपत आले झालं. And there sorry, and there I had a rock band. I was a part of a rock band. There was this Korean guy who was looking for a drummer, and I was just started to learning drums that time, and we made a band. We went to the village of our guitarist, and we stayed there at his home, and I was also staying with a family there for a week long. This was a very nice, like this was a very nice story. On my first visit to China, on the flight, I had a Chinese person sitting next to me, and I started, like I said ni hao, and the conversation started, and he got to know that I'm going to Changzhou, and he told me that his sister, like real sister, lives in Changzhou, and they have a family there, and he asked me to visit her sometimes. He gave me the address, and I went there, and I got to know his family, and after that they invited me many times for lunch and dinner and spending time with them. And right now, during those 2 years, I visited his sister's family more than him. So we had a great bond now that we are still in touch. And this is the father, and he has three children, 1 boy and 2 girls. And at that time, China had one child policy. So the girl that he had to pay 1 crore to the government, and after that, when he had a boy, he had to pay 2 crore again. So, and after 5 years after that, China isn't it now? It's three child, yeah, candied fruit, and there's a layer of sugar, crispy sugar out of it on it. A few glimpses from Changzhou. I used to work as an assistant sound engineer at a company because during the winter, like summer break, I did not come back to India. All of the students came, but I stayed there in China, and I invited my parents to come there and like roam around in China. This is the Shanghai Shichu Shuoyuan, like the Shanghai Theatre Academy, where I first got to know about the Chinese Beijing opera, and it's there that I first heard about a thing called Shangzheng. Right now, at present moment, that's the thing that I'm most attracted about when it comes to Chinese. Shangsheng is like a crosstalk where two people, there's a one who supports it and the one who makes the main jokes, and they entertain people, and they have like four things that are basic, like shuo, shue, tou, chang. So shuo is to talk, shue is to learn or mimic, to is to make jokes or fool around, and chang is to sing. So the daily routine of these guys, these performers, are they wake up at 4 a.m. and they start practicing. They have to read a lot. They have to practice speaking and singing skills, and that's the thing that interests me most right now, because they are very simple jokes that they speak in between two people, but they are very sound and very like firm culturally, and it's very deep. Like once you get, any of you, if you're learning Chinese, just let me know. I can send you a simple like Shangsheng videos, and you'll like it definitely. You can explore that thing. So when I was in Shanghai for 2 months at the summer program, I used to go out at night to a 7-Eleven nearby, and the guy there used to watch Shangsheng, and he used to sit at night at 3 a.m. Outside on the stairs, and he used to watch it. And when I used to come, he said, like the first day we got recognized, we got accustomed, and then he asked me to watch it, and I liked it. I went back to the hotel and I looked for more simpler videos, and that's how I got introduced to it. So every day I used to go with him and watch some of the other Shangsheng videos. This is shui shu. It's like water sleeves. It's a type of dance that they have in China. I couldn't learn it very nicely. This is a thing. If you're interested in China or in Chinese culture, they have summer programs every year, and the application process opens from January or February. You can access their website and apply, and you just have to write a long essay where you can tell them that you are really attracted towards Chinese culture or Chinese opera or sort, and then they just take you in and you get to live in. No, it's free. Yeah, if you have to, like, if you don't get selected in that summer program, then you have to pay, but it's like 40,000 for stay, and the tuition fee is around 30,000. So around 1 lakh it goes for a month long duration.
And what is the age? Minimum age?
Age is 40. When I applied, it was 40. I'll have to check now. Maximum age 18 to 40. Yeah, this is the work that I did, interpretation work, a few glimpses of that. I was there in Nashik for 3 months to install a 80-ton dryer that was there to, there's a firm called Pernod Ricard. It's an Italian firm who makes spirit. All the darus that we drink, a huge dryer that was coming from China. So the engineers were staying for 3 months, so I had to stay with them. I had to look after their food, how they eat well, and I had to interpret it, the procedures to Bihari people. So yeah. So I had to interpret from Chinese to Hindi. I learned a lot of Bihari words that time. This is Hanyu Chao. This is also an interesting thing. If you're learning Chinese, and if you cross certain like fourth or fifth level, you can take any time actually you can participate in this, and if you get selected, you get to the first and the second the winner gets to go to China for the main competition, and you can live there for 15 days with all of the people. These were students coming from 122 countries, and all of us had Chinese in common, so all of us were interacting using Mandarin, and that was a great feeling to know that there are so many people from different cultures, but we are speaking the same language. This was the last stay that I had in Tianjin just before Corona. I came back in February 2020, and there also I had my own band. It was called Chongpugo Santai. It has a very deep meaning. It's a idiom that if you're poor, it cannot pass to the third generation. When you are in the third generation, and if you're still poor, you'll get money eventually. That is the concept behind it. And there's also a different concept called Fupuko Santai. Santai is like the wealth. It only passes to 3 generations. After that, the people have to work, or there will be some waves that come and they'll change the winds. And these are the Kopuli pauza. It's like steamed buns, and this is like 200 rupees a piece. These have origin from Tianjin, and this is I couldn't get the name in the picture. The name itself is Kopuli. Ko is dog, Puli is ignoring. So the meaning is like even dogs ignore the buns. So even they don't like to eat it like that. But there's a different story behind it. During the warring times, there was a chef who made these steamed buns, and when no people bought them, he threw it to the dogs, and the dogs even did not eat it. So they call it Kopuli. And there's a Chinese rap in it using that clapboards. It's also called Kopuli Pao. So if you want, I can sing it to you right now. If you want to hear it, it's a minute long. Do you want to see the clapboards also?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just bring it. I'm back. Sorry, bag है. हाँ इथे है बघ. चिपळ्या.要提起那天津卫，那个美食有百家，最著名的还得说是狗不理包子。这狗不理这个名啊，您听这可不太雅。哎，有一段小故事，您听我来白话。说清末年间有一个包子铺，掌柜的人老是他小名叫狗子。这个狗子包包子，这个技术真不差，他是物美有价廉呐，是一个大字傻。本来呢，市里百里的人们都来吃包子，他吃完了以后，哎，还要往回拿，说捎回去给那慈禧太后，让她摸摸个牙。慈禧太后吃了包子，一个劲的夸：“啊，不错不错，那个味道好极了！什么山中作手林中人，陆地牛羊海底参，全都不如他。”那位先生说了：“你说那么热闹。”这狗不理的包子，它究竟好在哪儿啊？好就好在做工精细，我们从来不参加。它是包皮大馅18个字儿，就像一朵花。这是形容包子，你可别乱用它。说那个姑娘长得美，就像一朵花，你可不能说那个姑娘长得像包子。Yeah. So this is a rap that explains the story of Kopuli Pausa and how they flourished in China and how they became famous. So at the end, it's called like they are like a flower, and they they are very fluffy. So you can call them like that. Like you can compare them to a flower, but don't compare them to a girl. Otherwise, she'll be mad at you because like it represents a fat girl like that. So it's comedy. Most of the stuff is. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Thank you for coming for the session. I was really looking forward to it. and I desperately want